welcome to Lawyer of the Week.
This is a special edition of the Lawyer of the Week. In response to the report just released by the National Task Force on Lawyer Wellbeing, we have this special edition to make sure that lawyers in the United States and everywhere take heed to their recommendations. Today, we speak with Patrick Krill, who originally conducted the study in 2014, a joint effort by the Hazelden Betty Ford Foundation and the American Bar Association. Welcome to this edition of the Lawyer of the Week.
Welcome to Lawyer of the Week. I am so pleased to introduce you to Patrick Krill. Patrick Krill is the principal and founder of Krill Strategies, and I'd like to tell you more about Patrick after I say hello to him. Hello, Patrick. How are you?
I'm good, Pamela. How are you?
I'm very good. Thank you so much for making time to be our Lawyer of the Week.
Oh, it's my pleasure. I'm happy to be here.
I want to tell you about Patrick is recognized as one of the leading authorities on substance use and mental health problems of lawyers. Patrick is the founder of Krill Strategies, which is a behavioral health consulting firm exclusively for the legal profession. Patrick is an attorney, licensed and board-certified alcohol and drug counselor, author, advocate, and thought leader. His groundbreaking work in the field of attorney behavioral health includes initiating and serving as the lead author of the first and only national study on the prevalence of attorney addiction and mental health concerns. A joint undertaking of the American Bar Association Commission on Law Assistant Programs and the Hazelden Betty Ford Foundation that was published in the Journal of Addiction Medicine. Patrick is a former director of Hazelden Betty Ford Foundation's Legal Professionals Program, a preeminent clinical treatment program for addicted attorneys, judges, and law students. He's counseled hundreds of professionals all around the country, and he has helped them to get to the road of recovery. He's been on CNN. He's contributed to CNN, HuffPost, and other national outlets. So we could go on and on, but Patrick, we're so glad that you're here, and we're so excited to hear about the groundbreaking work that you're doing in the area of addiction and lawyers.
Well, thanks again, Pamela. I appreciate the invitation to be here with you today and to be reaching your audience to discuss this work because, as you and I were discussing earlier, it's not something that is spoken about enough in the legal profession.
Absolutely. Well, I'm going to ask you the Lawyer of the Week questions, and we're going to go way back to when you decided to become a lawyer. So what made you decide to become a lawyer in the first place?
Well, what made me decide to become a lawyer in the first place was my interest in the entertainment field, actually, if we go way back, because when I went to law school in Los Angeles, my desire and my plan really was to get into entertainment law. So I wanted to sort of be making deals and doing deals around film and TV. And that was my original intent.
Oh boy, okay, great. Well, as you know, as we talked about, I'm from California as well, and the lot of entertainment business out there and opportunities, and yeah. So it's a good business.
And I learned once I was in law school, and then I had the opportunity to work briefly at New Line Cinema, that entertainment law is not what what I thought it was, right? It's a lot drier and I dare say a lot more mundane than I originally anticipated.
Yes. Okay. Well, a lot of lawyers are in for a surprise when they find out, that what the real law is about. But right. Let's go to the second question is, what made you move into counseling and consulting?
So after practicing law for a number of years in Los Angeles, I realized that something really wasn't fulfilling me and that my own sort of personal and professional goals just weren't being met. I wasn't, I didn't really like going to work on a day-to-day basis. I also was working at a large law firm, very long hours. I was paying somebody to come walk my dogs, right? So that was sort of the lifestyle that I had, because I couldn't even take care of two dogs at the time, let alone, have a family or friends or really sort of tend to a life. So I knew something wasn't clicking for me there, but I also had a desire to get into what I guess you could call a more helping profession. Now, some people say that lawyers are essentially in a helping profession, but I wanted to do something a little bit more hands-on, such as psychology or counseling. I ended up moving into addiction counseling and getting a master's degree in addiction counseling and transitioning there into the work that I did. You mentioned that I was the former director of the Hazelden Betty Ford Foundation Legal Professionals Program, which is a clinical treatment program for attorneys, judges, and law students. So it was perfect for me because I was able to marry my background of practicing law with my new career path of counseling, specifically addiction counseling.
Oh, that's excellent. That's excellent. Now, what do you say are your biggest wins and your biggest challenges?
So in my new career, the biggest win so far, for sure, has been the publication of the study that I led last year. Like, the study itself took place in 2014-15, but was published last year in the Journal of Addiction Medicine, which was the first ever look at the prevalence of problem drinking, depression, and anxiety among practicing lawyers. That felt like a career milestone, and that was the biggest win. And it really has opened up a lot of conversation around these issues in the profession. So it was very gratifying work. I'll tell you, it was a slog getting that study done, but it was gratifying, and I certainly count that as my biggest victory to date.
Well, I'll have to tell you, that I was very, very excited when I saw your study, because I have, in the work that I do, encountered a lot of these issues in some of my clients. And so to see that it had been documented and studied and that was available to present to the greater legal community was very exciting for me.
Excellent.
Now, what would you say are your biggest challenges?
Well, the biggest challenge that I currently face is that trying to advocate for, write about, or facilitate change towards well-being in the legal profession is swimming upstream, right? It's a hard sell oftentimes in law firms, in bar associations, in law schools, really convincing people, despite the fact that we now have really credible and strong data, it's still a hard sell to get people to put some time and resources into these issues. So it's I guess it's kind of a collective challenge. It's not one discrete thing. It's more broad. It's broader, really, just the whole sort of current that I'm swimming against and that other people doing this work are swimming against. But we're getting there. We're making progress.
That's for sure. Now, who would be a perfect referral for you in Krill Strategies?
Well, probably a law firm. I mean, the vast majority of my clients are law firms. So the perfect referral would be, for example, a general counsel or a managing partner or somebody of a firm were to call me and say, we might have an issue. So how that person is referred to me, is they come by a variety of means, but that's generally who I work with is law firms.
Okay, great. Now, what is the legacy, Patrick, what is the legacy that you want to leave in your work that you're doing?
The legacy that I want to leave in the work that I'm doing is having made a difference and having hopefully spearheaded some type of meaningful change in the culture of the legal profession as it relates to addiction and mental health specifically. Now, addiction and mental health touch a lot of other things, but those are the two areas that I would like to say, if I could make a dent in that through my work, that would be fantastic.
Wonderful, wonderful. And what about you, Patrick? What do you do to manage your own stress?
Well, so we're chatting while I'm away on a short vacation, so I'm not in the office. I'm kind of away and trying to get some downtime. That's something I look for when I can. I get away and I sort of unplug, and hopefully I'll be unplugged for this weekend. But I exercise. I try and get some sort of exercise daily, whether it be walking, lifting weights, yoga, whatever the case may be, because I'm somebody who just kind of builds up a lot of energy, and I need to, I need that sort of physical activity, that exercise. So that's something I'm pretty dedicated about.
Okay, well, one last question is, what is it something that you would like people to know about you, about Patrick Krill?
Oh, what is something? I guess that I am a diehard Pittsburgh sports fan. I was born and raised in Pittsburgh, and I think there must be something in the water because I haven't lived there in over 20 years, but I still root for the Steelers and the Penguins and the Pirates. So those will always be my teams.
You're diehard. Well, thank you so much, Patrick. We really appreciate hearing about your work, the breakthroughs that are going on, and the mission that you're on. And thank you so much for making time in your busy schedule to be the Lawyer of the Week.
Thank you, Pamela. It was a pleasure.
Thank you for joining Lawyer of the Week. We hope to see you again next week.